guys, I told you yesterday that I would be back with a review today, and I'm a little bit nicer today, even though it is still snowing. Oh, winter, you were gone for so long, and now you are here in full force. Now, we all know that I am not the YA reader on this channel. If you are looking for YA recommendations, you should be going to Gretchen. However, one of the sections on the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge is to read a YA bestseller, and I did used to read a lot of young adult literature. I just haven't been doing it lately because it has all been the same, and I need something different. And I know that there are good books out in there, and I figured that one of the ways that I could find that is to go back to where sort of the forefront of that genre was, and to go back to something that I was interested in years and years and years ago. So I picked up Eon, Dragon Eye Reborn by Alison Goodman. Couple problems with this. I have been saying, if you followed me on Goodreads, that I need to stop reading fantasy because I have read too many fantasy too close together, and they are beginning to seem all the same. Fantasy is not one of, at least like high fantasy with magic and courts and stuff. They're all the same story. There's never any new stories. It's one story over and over again. They just put the protagonist in different clothes. So, this was not my favorite book. And it might have been new when it first came out, but every single YA fantasy I have read over the past 4 or 5 years has been basically the same thing as this, just with a slightly different world. And it's the same plot and the same characters, and I just am tired of it. The thing that makes this book different is that it has an element that is based off of Chinese history, with the dragons and the zodiac, and that was interesting. I did enjoy that part. It's one of the reasons that I picked it up. As we all know, I've been learning Chinese and I care about the culture. You should watch my 3-Body Problem review because that was an excellent book. But for this, that was the only thing that I really liked about this book. I appreciated the fact that the protagonist was disabled, and there was another character that was also disabled, and they were still able to sort of live their lives and do interesting things and weren't just sort of on the fringes. That was a good thing for this book, but the plot and most of the character development was something I've seen a million times. One thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that my library had this old hardcover edition, and the new softcover covers have like a girl doing Tai Chi with a sword on the front. This cover that it has, I feel like would appeal to both men and women. The new cover, on the other hand, I feel like would just appeal to women. Now, when we talk about young adult literature, you would think young adult literature would be both for boys and girls. However, I have noticed that it seems to be young adult girls, young adult women. It's not both genders. When you go into the kids section, there are books that are marketed towards girls specifically, and then books for everybody. When you go into the young adult section, it's almost exclusively books for girls. There's nothing in here that I think that guys would like, except for maybe a handful of the supernatural stuff, like Patrick Ness's books. Those are kind of generically covered, and maybe a handful of others, but the vast majority is for girls, and that might be because we assume that reading is a girl thing. Guys, when they're young adults, want to be out playing sports. They don't want to be reading, and that's not fair. And this isn't to say that they can't read contemporary romances if they want to. They definitely can, but when they look at that cover, it's not marketed at them. It's marketed at young, impressionable girls. This is something I would like to change in the YA genre. Not me specifically, but I think should change in the YA genre because it is exclusionary. Young guys need books too. You need to encourage them to read as well. Don't block them out of this. If they liked books growing up and then they get to the young adult section and there's almost nothing for them, what are they going to do? They're going to stop reading, and that's not okay. So, I mean, I guess I'm just going to sit on my soapbox during this review, but nah. Now, Gretchen tells me that the second book in this series has more action, so I might enjoy that, but I am not going to pick it up for a while. This book was okay. Like I said, I like the world building, so I might want to dip back into the world and see what's happening, but I know what the plot of it is. There's no way that it's going to be any different. I know what's going to happen, which is a little sad, and I wish there was more diversity in the genre, is all I'm saying. Give me something different in the fantasy. Different plot, different anything. I told Gretchen that I would honestly read a story about a young farm girl doing farm stuff over this again. The up-and-coming kid turns noble because of weird circumstances. It's tiresome. And I understand why it's a thing, because then it allows young children to be like, I could be a king, because you're seeing that a nobody is becoming a somebody, but at the same time, there are other stories that can be told instead of the same story over and over again. I'm sure that this was a pretty quick review, aside from that slight rant that I had in the middle there. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it, and the next thing that you'll see from us is our weekly wrap-up. Talk to you then, guys. Bye!